Ladies and gentlemen, now today, thanks to the content creator beta, we're going to be having our very first look at the buffed up version of classic Magneto. Now, before we start, I just need to give the standard disclaimer that this being a champion beta, anything could be changed. However, from the Hulkbuster beta, there are a few little adjustments, but not too much, so I'm very hopeful that something very close to this is going to be going live, because Magneto against metal opponents on the beta at the moment is absolutely ridiculous. He's kind of like a metal hunting blade. He's got so much stuff in his kit, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in this video, which gives him tons of additional advantages against metal opponents, and there are so many really annoying top tier metal opponents. So yeah, I think this buff is probably going to be one of the biggest character buffs we've ever seen if it goes live, like even 75% of what he is on beta, because at the moment you're probably thinking, oh, Seatin, I'm not really seeing the hype, but as soon as you see the special 3 in some of these fights, man, you're gonna be like, damn, that's busted, that is absolutely broken. So the special 3 smacks, but for each prowess you have, it has a 70% chance to inflict a bleed debuff. So you can see the bleed here on a rank 5 without suicide masteries as well. It was about 15,000 bleed damage every single second. So Green Goblin just got absolutely annihilated, and again, that's a very stacked up Green Goblin. That's like a 250k one from Act 6, so it's not light work, it's not a small opponent by any measure. Just to note as well, one thing I'm not using in today's gameplay video, which makes him even more ridiculous, is the suicide masteries. Because again, this character revolves around firing off primarily just the special 3, maybe a special 2, maybe a special 1 if you want to finish the fight, but the majority of his damage after the buff is on the special 3. And he also has a 90% reduction when it comes to both bleed and shock damage. So Magneto, after his buff, the plan is that he's going to synergize very well with the suicide masteries. So yeah, this character, anything you see today could be even more crazy, but you can see here we get 49 stacks of prowess. We fire off that special 3, man, with 15 hits in. I got to the special 3 a little bit quicker in this matchup. An X23, this is like an almost 300,000 health one, just absolutely demolished. But that's not even the craziest fight, man. This next matchup against Darkhawk is probably my favorite one of the video. So I imagine a lot of you are thinking, like, okay, a lot of metal champions, they're robots, you can't bleed them. What happens on the special 3 if I can't bleed the opponent? And that's a very good question. Well, what happens is instead of bleed, you apply an armor break, but it applies like as soon as you activate the special 3, so you get all of the armor break damage and the equivalent amount of stacks of armor break as to bleed. So yeah, it just makes the special 3 damage just beyond stupid, man. It's so crazy. So I never really thought that Magneto would end up being one of the best Darkhawk counters, but after this buff, as you're gonna see very soon, it's just ridiculous, man. He just disappears as soon as Magneto smashes that special 3. So in this fight, we're trying to ramp up, get to that special 3. We're just spamming those heavy attacks. We have 49 stacks of prowess here. We nail a 12% damage bonus. And yeah, he just gets clapped, man. There was so much overkill on that. It was just so silly. But yeah, pretty good against metal champions, believe it or not. Now, before we get into the full abilities breakdown, we're going to have a cheeky little look at Realm of Legends Winter Soldier. So one of the things as well is the AI is acting a little bit weird on the CCP beta. I think it still has that bug that was present at the start of the month. So yeah, sometimes it walks towards you and acts a little bit funny there. And I was just being a little bit of a noob. I did take a couple of hits there as well. But also, he does have this like secondary ability. When charging heavy attack, you get an unstoppable. And if you get directly hit, this unstoppable is going to go on cooldown and you can't access it for, I think it's about 14 seconds. However, this kind of allows you in stun immune matchups, if you are very skilled, to kind of intercept with heavy attacks there, which can be very nice. However, here I'm playing like a little bit desperately, you know, a little bit rubbish, but we still get 45 stacks of prowess off there and fire off the special 3. Again, really good synergy Magneto has with the suicide mastery. So if we did have those on at the moment, we we'd just be absolutely clapping. The bleed RNG was not too bad there. It could have been a little bit better. We got 27 stacks of bleed. Quickly rush to a special 1, because, you know, if you got all these stacks of prowess, man, you can quickly follow up with a special 1 for some massive mega damage on top of that. But yeah, if we had suicide masteries, he would have just been burst down in that combo. But against metal opponents, man, like Magneto after the buff is just so ridiculously good. I just hope he stays at least like 75% of this power, because if he does, he's going to be absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, let's get into the full ability breakdown. So first things first, he's got a brand new signature ability. So he's got the damage cap that he had previously, but also on top of that, he's got a bit of crit resistance and also block penetration. However, against magnet opponents, so this is anybody that's metal, it's doubled. And also heavy attacks now deal a burst of up to 2,200 energy damage there. So a nice little bonus on the heavy attacks. So magnetism is when fighting #metal champions. So you gain kind of like 3 different things. So metal opponents suffer an indefinite magnetized passive, which is applied 1 second after the start of the fight and does the following. So metal opponents get minus 70% ability accuracy and minus 105% regen rate. So I think I haven't extensively tested out this, but it's gonna at the bare minimum block out regeneration. I think it like reverses it a bit, but I'm not too sure how this synergizes with the despair mastery. Again, I need to jump into stuff like Labyrinth of Legends and also Deeper Realm of Legends to do a little bit more testing there. We also have Magneto's abilities gain a special magnet bonus, again if the opponent is a metal champion. So metal champions he's designed to be like really crazy against. He's Magneto, Master of Metal. So yeah, this is some of the base stuff. Again, these are 2 things he's going to have in every single matchup. So his attacks deal energy damage instead of physical. This is the case currently, but it's just specified in the character's abilities now. Also, incoming bleed and shock debuffs suffer minus 90% potency. So again, this is really good for the suicide masteries. Any bleed nodes might allow him to deal with the crossbones to get Cavalier as well. However, the node is a little bit annoying on that crossbones, so I'm not really too sure about that one. But shock debuffs as well. You have characters like Dr. Doom, who's also a metal champion. So yeah, I'm really interested to find like a stacked up Dr. Doom and see if we can do a bit of testing there as well. But yeah, very interesting. Resistance to that, and again with willpower, this minus 90% potency is going to work really well for just kind of keeping you topped up there. So that should be pretty damn good. Also, again against metal champions, gains a plus 50% perfect block chance. So this just makes him crazy on the block, but it also allows his parry stuns to be much longer. If you're paying very close attention in some of the clips, you would have noticed that. So it allows you to do like a medium attack and then charge up the heavy and charge it long enough to double his prowess there. Also, you gain like a bit of additional attack rating against metal champions, and against metal champions, attacks cannot be auto-blocked or miss as well. So that's like, I actually didn't even realize, man, I totally forgot about that against Darkhawk, but that's really good for Darkhawk and also Guillotine 2099, probably a couple of other characters like Iron Man and Infinity War as well, but I think that's going to have some great uses in all sorts of matchups there. Also, against metal opponents, he ignores class disadvantage. So yeah, he removes the attack penalty, and the opponent loses their attack bonus. So I think it's just like a neutral advantage. I don't think he then gains the advantage, but he still has like, bonus attack rating. So he kind of like gains the advantage technically anyway, via the magnet bonus. Now, when he knocks the opponent down, has a 100% chance to gain an indefinite prowess buff. So this is the one that you initially get via firing off a heavy attack, and this one gives you plus 20% special attack damage. So again, for max special 3 damage, you need to make sure you knock the opponent down 5 times before firing off, and also have the additional 40 prowess stacks that gained via doubling it. So next up is when he's charging his heavy attacks. As we talked about earlier, he's going to get an unstoppable buff, and if you're fighting a standard opponent, if you get hit, it goes on cooldown for 14 seconds, but if you're fighting a metal opponent, it only has a 4-second cooldown there. So yeah, just really, really good. But also, when charging his heavy, if you hold it for 0.7 seconds, it's going to double the prowess buffs that you have, and these ones are a little bit smaller. They're only like, what is it, 5% special attack damage per prowess there, but they also have a scaling effect with the special 3, and you can have a maximum of 40 of these. So yeah, a lot of prowess, man. Certainly adds up with the, you know, knocking the opponent down and also charging the heavy attacks as well. He also has enhanced bleed debuffs. So personal bleed debuffs are upgraded to shrapnel bleeds, which inflict 875 physical damage when they end. So as soon as your bleeds end, they're going to detonate as well. And if the opponent is immune to bleed, inflict an armor break debuff, reducing armor rating by 900 for 12 seconds. And again, if these can stack up, man, via the special 3, as we saw in the Darkhawk matchup, he hits really ridiculously hard. It's very, very impressive damage. Also on the special 1, you've got a 100% chance to inflict bleed, but if the opponent has an armor break debuff, inflict an additional bleed, and if they are a metal opponent, you inflict 1 more bleed on top of that as well. The special attack 2, 100% chance to inflict an armor break debuff, reducing armor rating by 1,400 for 10 seconds. This armor break does not stack, but is reapplied each time Magneto gains a prowess effect. So for longer matchups, I assume, you know, if you're just constantly getting prowess, man, you can just refresh this. So yeah, really, really decent, actually. I really haven't played around with the special 2 too much, but I need to look into that a little bit more. In all fairness, like, every single matchup I've done so far is just, like, over with a special 3. But yeah, I'll check that one out at some point as well. But the special 3 really is where the source of Magneto is at. So if the opponent is a #hero champion, 100% chance to gain a 30-second Fury buff, and this gives him, I think it's about 60 to 70% of his base attack as additional attack for 30 seconds. And then if it's also a a metal opponent as well, gains another Fury buff on top of that. But each prowess buff on Magneto has a 70% chance to inflict 1 bleed debuff, causing again, about 60% of his attack as direct damage over 8 seconds. So that's crazy synergy with the Suicide Masteries, Deep Wounds, and again, if he can't bleed, he's instead going to inflict the Armor Break in certain matchups like Iron Man Infinity War, and also Darkhawk as well. So yeah, pretty ridiculous, man. He's actually quite a simple champion to understand once you've played him a fair bit, but the kit on Magneto is just so solid. Again, outside of the metal matchups, he's still a pretty decent character, but to really get the spice and excitement of Magneto, you need to be fighting metal champions. However, with that said as well, there are just so many, like, crazy metal characters in the game. If we bring up, like, the list from Aunt May here, just have a little bit of a look. Like, apparently Airwalker is actually #metal. We got Angela, Ant-Man, very annoying to fight. Archangel, Cable, we got Civil Warrior. Colossus is a bit of a weird one because with the ability accuracy reduction, you actually give him double power gain, so it makes him a bit more annoying to fight. Then we got Crossbones, Cull Obsidian, Darkhawk, Doctor Doom. We got Dragon Man, Doc Ock, Falcon. Who else is really annoying? Guardian, Green Goblin's really annoying as well. Gilly 2099 is really annoying. How the Duck a bit annoying. Iron Man a bit annoying. Kang a little bit annoying. MODOK very annoying. Mojo very annoying. Mysterio should be really good for, considering you can rinse him with the bleeds. Sentinel, I'm very curious to try him against Sentinel, man. Should be great for a lot of Sentinel matchups, though. Both of the Ultrons, Unstoppable Colossus, both Visions. We got War Machine, Warlock, who's a really annoying defender. All of the Wolverines, especially like the new Wolverine, like he's really crazy in top tier Alliance War defense. So yeah, he's a massive pain. But Magneto is just going to shred this man. I would assume, I guess he's got a fair bit of bleed resistance, but with everything else, course, and also the heal reduction as well. Should be quite nice for that matchup. So yeah, I'm curious to see how he fares against the brand new Wolverine. But overall, I think they've done like a crazy job with the Magneto buff. Again, if he is 75% of what he is now on the CCP beta when this character does go live, it's going to be absolutely nuts. But before we wrap up today's video, let's have a look at 2 more fights. Now, one matchup Magneto is pretty damn good for after his buff is the Stark Enhanced SpiderMan matchup, because we have an 80% ability accuracy reduction, so that's really reducing his chance to evade. But also on top of that as well, you've got that really long extended stun with a 50% perfect block chance. Honestly, man, this guy has like just crazy advantages against metal. But I messed up there, man. I messed up a little bit. We got smacked by the combo. However, it doesn't matter too much. Again, one of the really good things about Magneto is he still retained his OG signature ability, so he still has the ability to mitigate a lot of damage even if you do get hit, but it is dependent on the SIG level. Again, the more SIGs, the higher damage mitigation, but we're not going to take more than 3,000 from like any singular hit outside of the special 3, and that pretty much prevents us from getting one shot, so it's really, really nice. However, against Starky here, we get up to the special 3, we've got our prowess charges, fire that mad lad off there, slam that man down, and he's straight in the bin. He's just gone absolutely melted there. So yeah, pretty good matchup. And then finally, to round off today's video, we got a cheeky little Vulture match, and again, all of the opponents I've shown you today are either Realm of Legends standard or kind of like late Act 6 standard as well. Like, they're not light work. It's not like we're going into like Act 4 or anything. The damage numbers are just crazy, and this guy just absolutely melts metal characters. So yeah, initially very, very impressed by Magneto. Again, we have this champion buff, I believe, being pledged to go live at the end of this month / start of next month. So I believe if everything goes to plan, this buff is going to be live within the next 3 and a bit weeks, which is crazy to think about, because this guy is just going to be clapping cheeks absolutely everywhere. But honestly, like, from my brief time playing the Magneto beta so far, he is probably one of the most ridiculous buffs I've ever seen. So I just hope he retains like the majority of his power on beta. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think of the Magneto buff in the comments section below, and if you did enjoy today's first look at the brand new reworked version of Magneto, if you could do me a massive favor and smash that like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. But aside from that, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.